It feels so good. The original group is back together. Look at us.
Look at us all.
Woo!
Look at us.
Hands in.
Look at us. Okay, yeah. Hey. Woo. Hey. Ken was so reluctant to do that.
Yeah, I didn't like it very much, to be honest with you.
Well, what would be better?
Well, I just like, see, you guys look at this as a family, but I'm here to win the argument.
Oh, okay.
You know? So,
Yeah.
like,
I'll just
I'm not
guide
here to make
conversation.
friends. You know what I'm saying?
He is a no-nonsense kind of guy.
No, I'm not
Don't
trying to
invite
make
me over
friends
for
out here,
Thanksgiving.
dude. Nah, you weren't invited.
Well, he'll be at the Lions game enjoying it. There we go, because it's all about business. Welcome to DSP, along with Derek, with Ben, and with Ken. I am Hobie. And guys, preseason is completely done.
Thank goodness.
I know, thank God.
It was brutal.
Brutal.
Oh,
okay,
it's terrible.
if you could describe it in one word, what would it be? Since, of course, the starters really didn't play.
Meaningless.
Brutal. Oh, but we have brutal,
Clunky.
clunky,
Useless.
and useless.
You won. Yeah.
Yes.
Was it really useless, though?
For us as fans, for
Depends on the
sure.
teams. For the Lions, it felt close to useless.
It wasn't useless for some players. Like trying to.
What was more
but, like,
useless, the preseason or Hendon Hooker?
Stop. Stop. We get back together, and then you have to come in with the hot takes already. Not really, but I mean, I think the main headline coming out of this is that the Lions do have their number 2 quarterback. We're
Yes,
pretty
I
sold
think
on Kyle Allen. Would you go out and go for somebody else, or is he your guy behind Jared Goff after what you saw?
I feel like if you go out and get somebody else, you're most likely to just get what you're seeing out of Kyle Allen. Like, he's basically performing almost exactly like you hope your backup quarterback is. He's a veteran who's proven he's not good enough to be a starter, so he's not going to threaten your starter. But he looks like he could probably keep you afloat for a game or two if absolutely need be.
No QB controversy in Allen Park.
Well, give it like 2 weeks of Jared Goff rust.
Goff throws one pick. They're like, maybe Kyle Allen should get a shot.
Kyle Allen is about as good as a backup QB can be, right? On your roster, you know, he looks like he can come in and save you for a game or two, but he looks better than like Nate Sudfeld or those guys that look like they were just going to give you nothing.
Sure.
I think the only better thing you can get is like having like a Tony Romo on your roster where you just, somebody who comes out of nowhere, but then you want to make him your starter. So I think Kyle Allen's about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Tony Romo.
Yeah. Nice pull.
Yeah, great pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess we found out that Tesla is a legit wide receiver option for the team. That's promising.
I mean, you said that the preseason was useless, though. He was exciting in every single game. If we are looking for the silver lining in every single game for the silver and Honolulu blue, it was number 18 on the field.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially for a guy that they draft. I mean, they draft him. It's like, oh, it's a cool story. It's the Michigan guy who went to a small school, then went to Arkansas, became something, and then you see him here. Forget like cute story. This is like a legitimate weapon that the Lions could have in their offense moving forward.
Yeah, he's probably the headliner of the preseason. Like, Kyle Allen winning the number 2 quarterback job is probably the most substantial thing that happened during the preseason games. But Isaac Tesla was sort of introduced to us. He probably didn't need, like, the games. He was probably proving that he's a legitimate NFL receiver in the practices. But he was the most fun to watch, and he does a really good worm.
Yeah, he looks like a stud.
Excellent worm.
Really good worm.
Yeah, absolute stud. He's J-Mo's replacement next year. I mean, he'll be our wide receiver, too, opposite of Amon-Ra.
Time out. Year ago at this time. Hold on. Let's rewind the tape. Mr. J-Mo is going to have more receiving yards than Amon-Ra. I wish we had the clip.
J-Mo.
I know you love J-Mo, which is like shocking to me that you already think he's going to be off of the roster moving forward.
Yeah, he's moved on that much. He's
Jeez.
He not only is he over J-Mo being the number 1 receiver, he's just trying to up his trade value.
I've seen this movie play out so many times. J-Mo's going to have an amazing year. He's probably going to have a better year this year, but you know what's going to happen at the end of the season. He's going to want that contract, and we have his 5th-year option, but I just don't think we're paying him $100 million. I don't think we are.
I was just giving you grief, but I am with you because that's a lot to want to pay a guy who, for this Lions offense, he's kind of a luxury to have just the burner that can take the top off of a defense. But also you have guys like Tyreek Hill, who've made a name for themselves doing just that, and we see how much he means to Miami's offense. We saw how much he meant to Patrick Mahomes whenever he was in Kansas City. I don't know. There's going to be a tough decision to make, and the Lions do have a lot of tough decisions to make right now whenever it comes to cutting down this roster, but also in the future, too.
You also don't see very often the organizations that have like consistent winning atmospheres and teams that are competitive like year after year. They don't spend a ton of money on skill players. Like they kind of pick and choose. They let people walk, and they kind of just fill through the draft. So you're right. I mean, if that's that kind of feels like Brad Holmes is doing. He's locked up his core. There's a couple more out there that he's probably going to try and get, but. Yeah, at some point you can't keep everybody, right? So a wide receiver is an expendable position when you can draft the way Brad Holmes does.
Yeah, I think Ben's absolutely right. I think that this was a move the Lions made looking towards the future in a world where they're not going to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown and another wide receiver big money. So, whether he's traded or whether he's here for 2 more years, I think that the Jameson Williams window is shortening, obviously, and Tesla looks early, like a guy who could help bridge that gap. And to Ken's point, you don't pay all these skill guys big money. You got a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown to be kind of your rock, and you can sort of fill in with specific skills around that. So if J-Mo is gone, you need a guy who can open up the field, right? You don't need an elite receiver. You just need a guy who can open up the field. And the Lions have put themselves in a position where they can sort of get those guys later in the draft.
Yeah, do you want J-Mo or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah, I want
that's almost where they're going to be.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, I want Sam Laporta over either of those guys. Like Sam Laporta to me provides a skill set that is more difficult to find.
Sam Laporta over Jahmyr Gibbs, though.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. That's our second time out of the half.
Yep.
We have 1 timeout remaining. What? No.
No way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I
love Sam
Laporta,
Laporta.
but like,
Let's see what Jahmyr Gibbs looks like in a few years once he's a first-round running back, right? So they've got him for 5 years.
Yep.
5 years of hits for a running back.
Yeah, but he's not.
Signing
But he's
Sam
got to
Laporta.
get hit. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not your
Like
typical running back.
watching
With
joint
this-
practices, and look, I know you're not supposed to tackle to the ground in joint practice. He was making people miss left and right. Like, and everybody wants to say, like, oh, he's going to have so much more expectation because everybody knows who he is coming into this season. He is a legitimate potential number 1 running back in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think Sam Laporta is a legitimate potential number 1 tight end.
Could be.
Yep.
Now, if we're having this
make me use that third
conversation,
timeout.
if we're having this conversation in like the next contract cycle for these guys, then I'll probably side more with you, because the way I look at and I've said this since they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, what they are doing with him, what Detroit is doing with him, is identical to what the Saints are doing with Alvin Kamara. It really is.
Sure.
And Alvin Kamara he's still a good player because he is like the Saints' gym player. But looking at what he did, the run he had for like 6 years, he was untouchable. He was the best running back in football. So if we're having this conversation in a few years, I'll side with you. But like right now, I think that in a lot of ways, Jahmyr Gibbs, because of his versatility, is the key that's going to make this offense go.
So
like not only this year, but the year after that.
Here's the question.
And maybe the year after that.
Laporta's not a first-round pick, so they're going to have to make that decision a year before they have to make the Jahmyr Gibbs decision. So the Lions aren't going to have the luxury of waiting until the final buzzer to make.
I think they'll have to make it at the same time because Jahmyr Gibbs is a running back. He ain't making it to a free agent year. They're going to have to sign him before he gets to that 5th-year option.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to sign him after this year if you're going to make that decision.
All right, only
Sign
one
them both.
timeout. Sign them both. There we go. The cap is a myth. We move on.
It totally is. Yeah,
We
totally
talked so much about the offense, but this Lions defense, last year, it's no secret, this was just a depleted unit. This year, they've all talked in training camp about how they're finally healthy, and it's kind of like a reunion, kind of like what we're having right now, but everybody is back together. Where do you set the bar for that Lions defense going into this season?
They got to be.
Could it be the best in the NFL?
They got to be at least in the top 15.
the best defense in the
Could
NFL?
it be? Honestly, I'm asking the honest question.
I don't think
People
they'll be the
talk-
top.
Wait, there's our third timeout.
If they can crack the top 10, that's great.
Okay.
I'm thinking like between 7 and 10.
People are talking about this being one of, if not the best secondary in the NFL. People talking about Aidan Hutchinson already returning to an all-pro potential defensive player of the year candidate. I mean, those are your 2 levels right there. Linebackers who are rangy and can get after, and who can kind of do everything. What would stop them from being that?
I'm not there yet. If Aleem McNeil was like fully healthy,
Okay.
that would help a lot. On the defensive line, you've got Aidan Hutchinson coming off a major injury. Like, they can tell me he's all the way back all they want. I need to see it in games. And then the other 3 spots, I'm like, on the D-line, I
Tyreek's
just don't
look
really
pretty good.
know.
Marcus
Sure,
Davenport.
he probably looks good, but he's also a rookie. So
Yeah.
I need to see that too. The linebacking unit, like I think they're good. Are they top 10 in the NFL? I really don't know. I do think the secondary is solid, but let's not act like there weren't cornerback issues last year. So I'm not ready to talk about best in the NFL.
If
with
they're
this
healthy.
group. Yeah, right, for sure.
If they stay healthy, is there a chance?
I mean, I think they'll be super improved, but I don't think they're going to be a top unit in the NFL. I think they're a couple players still away, especially with a new coordinator. Calvin Shep, I'm a big Calvin Shepard fan. In fact, I think the linebackers are our most improved unit because of Calvin Shepard. He gets the most out of those linebackers. You know, Nick Cunningham has looked pretty good in like a reserve role. And then, you know, you still got, you know, Jack Campbell, I expect to take another jump.
He's such a Jack Campbell guy.
I think Jack Campbell is that guy, though.
In Ben's defense, they've talked about him being the leader of that defense this year.
And you still got Anzalone, Derek Barnes has come back, and then, you know, you still got Malcolm Rodriguez back there. Grant Stewart.
When he comes back.
Grant Stewart, if he's there for depth, I mean, that's a really strong unit.
He had a really fun preseason too, I should say.
He did.
Grant
I love
Stewart.
it.
Maybe not the kick returns, but, but I mean, on defense, he was all over the place.
I will say, just for, you know, just throwing it out there, the Lions are top 5 projected fantasy defense. Fantasy football defense. Now, maybe they're just thinking Kirby Joseph is going to have like 20 pick sixes, you know, something like that. But I did think that was interesting because usually those fantasy defenses are like, you know, pretty in line with the top 5, 10 defenses.
Oh, so they could be top 5 is what you're saying.
So I'm just saying that maybe I think they could be a top 10 defense. You know, if everything works out. They could be a top 10 defense for sure.
Well, the Lions do have depth this year if they can stay healthy. But here's what Dan Campbell had to say earlier today on his defense heading into 2025.
It's a real good unit. We stay healthy. We continue to grow, get better. We learn from our errors. You know, we've got guys that are playmakers. We got guys that are smart. You know, we can make a lot of checks. We can get in a lot of different calls. You know, we can create turnovers. So we got to stay healthy and we got to keep getting better. There'll be things that we get exposed on that we got to learn from and we got to clean up, just like offense. So I like where we're at. And believe me, man, nobody wants to play this in all 3 phases more than I do. You know, and I want to find out how many different ways can we win games. Like that's, man, let's get good at winning. And I don't care what it looks like. I really don't. As long as we believe we're playing clean football and we're playing up to our standard, that's all I care about.
Put that one on a T-shirt too. You have some rapid fire questions for us, by the way.
All right, real quick. These are going to be really fast. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the new coordinators? Because this preseason, it was preseason, but you know there were so many penalties. Things looked clunky, and so I'm just wondering what your guys' level of concern is.
4.
A 4?
I'm going to go 2 because that's probably how many starters saw the field in the preseason.
6.
I think I'm right there with you on a 6.
Okay.
What do you think the most improved unit coming into this year is going to be?
The defense? Is that what you meant?
I mean, or like, you know, positional unit.
The secondary?
I'm with you.
The defensive line. Most improved from the end of last season.
Okay.
I think DJ Reed can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Okay. I think our linebackers are going to be just fire this year. Does Kyle Allen ease all backup QB concerns?
Yes.
Yep.
As much as one can. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And then if you're Brad Holmes and you're making cuts, who's your big surprise cut? For me, it's Sione Vaki. I think he's just, while it was a nice idea, I just don't see any real contribution from him.
And also, you have to be on the field to make an impression. And unfortunately,
Yes.
injuries held him back this preseason.
Yes.
Mine, Tim Patrick. As much as great of a story as he is and having a resurgent season last year, I think we were just like shining about Isaac Tesla a while ago. And I think there's only room for one in this offense. Barring an injury, there's only room for one of these
But
two
do you
guys.
feel comfortable cutting that veteran presence?
That is the
for
question.
him?
That is the question you have to ask yourself because you're also pretty set, too, of J-Mo, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Sam Laporta had such a dip last year, that's going to come back up. And if you've got to get him some touches and in a new offense, I mean, tight end can be a quarterback's best friend. So I think that one of the two is going to be on the roster, and that would be my surprise one.
Yeah. Tim Patrick's a really good one. Shout out Jason Colthorpe. He said the same thing.
It's got to be Tim Patrick. I can't even think of anyone else.
Sorry, Tim.
If there was one.
that also speaks to just how good this roster is.
Yeah.
This is just
no starters played in the preseason. So how long do you think, and do you think it's going to hurt him in these first 3 games? At Green Bay, Bears at home, and then at the Ravens?
Normally I would say yes, but after watching joint practices, I have no concerns that they can go up against somebody else and be ready.
I'm not worried about that at all.
Nope. 15-2 last year after not playing one snap. So
Yeah, same here. Because the other teams really didn't play their starters either. So they're really really the real preseason for everybody.
The one thing I will say, and I said this earlier, is from an operational standpoint and having a guy in the booth calling plays down, you're starting on the road, you have some big games on the road this year. That would be my one hesitation of getting that operational, procedural type thing going where you don't have that yet. But, of course, that's going to figure itself out in week 1.
That's a good point.
In Green Bay, and we will see as the Lions kick off the season, not this weekend, but next. However, this weekend, it is a new era in college football in Ann Arbor with a new starting QB. Much more on the Bryce Underwood news coming up on DSP. For only the 4th time, Michigan football will be starting a true freshman quarterback. First time in more than a decade. Any surprise that number 19, Bryce Underwood, is going to be getting the start against New Mexico on Local 4, by the way?
No.
No, no surprise.
No.
Surprising
All right.
wasn't named earlier.
yeah, it would have been way more surprising.
It would have been such a storyline if he wasn't.
Yeah, that would be the big story.
Yeah.
No surprise in Ann Arbor. Sharon Moore naming Bryce Underwood his starting quarterback for week 1 of the 2025 season. Here's what he had to say on that decision earlier on Monday.
Yes, Bryce Underwood will be our starting quarterback. I'll confirm that. You know, he's earned the opportunity. It was not given to him. All the other quarterbacks had a really good camp as well. You know, really thought Jaden Davis has really come along and taken the next steps. He'll be the 2 behind him, and he's done a really good job. But Bryce took the necessary steps and really took the position. You know, took ownership of his abilities and took ownership of the team and became a leader on the team and a guy that guys look to. So, you know, just did the things the right way and used his skill and never tried to do too much. For a young guy, very mature beyond his years, and he's still only 18 years old. So he's gonna make mistakes, but that's what we're here for. Coaches and players, we're all gonna support him as he goes on this journey. We go on this journey together. So, but he's earned that job.
Bryce Underwood has earned the job. We were talking about this earlier. Once you make that decision, though, you're sticking with it.
Yep.
You're going. Any concerns about a true freshman, granted a 5-star recruit who has been working for a moment like this his entire life, started at Belleville High School? What is your biggest concern about Bryce Underwood taking over?
Yeah, I mean, are there any concerns? Yes, absolutely. They all inherently come with relying on a freshman at any position, but when you make it the quarterback at Michigan, when everybody knows you're making quite a bit of money, this is like arguably the most pressure any freshman college football player has ever had on him in the history of the sport. So I do have concerns that when he does make those mistakes, that the overreaction is just going to pile on, you know? I really hope that he comes out and has a good first game, because if he doesn't, the murmurs will already be starting. So I think, you know, without having seen Bryce Underwood at practice, I think all indications are that he is talented enough and that he has the right mindset to succeed
And he's
in this
ready.
job.
He's as ready as he can be for this type of stage.
So what Michigan fans need to do is they just need to be willing to take the ride with him and not just jump on any little mistake that he makes.
He's got all the physical tools. I mean, he is just a beast of an athlete. And, you know, this station we've covered him in the past. So, you know, we've gotten to see that he's got the mental makeup of somebody who's really mature. And I can't remember being so hyped up for myself to see a Michigan quarterback start. He's got to be. This is the most anticipated I've ever been to see a Michigan quarterback and what they look like on the field. I am so excited to see Bryce Underwood on Saturday, and I just want to see everything. I want to see how he handles himself, you know, and how he performs. And I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be huge.
Hey, are you excited about this or not?
Very. Very.
I just want to say, like, I feel like most logical people are going to be pretty patient with him. Don't you think? Like, I mean, I feel
What's
like,
our percentage,
you know, like
though?
You come in, like, you got to expect some mistakes to to go down. Yeah, they somehow lose like 3, you know what I mean? Like 3 games in a row or something. He's like just like messing up in clutch time. Then yeah, I think those conversations probably happen. But like, I'm expecting him to make some mistakes. I'm not expecting crazy stat lines out the gate. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just on the. I know that there's crazy Michigan fans out there.
Yeah.
Who are going
I was
going to
ask you if you know any logical Michigan fans
That's
that
what
you
I'm
can
saying.
point me
So
towards.
but I do feel like I feel like most people are going to be like, he's a freshman. Like there's gonna be some moments, you know.
The nice thing is that this year, Michigan actually has a plan at quarterback. If you guys remember this time last year, it was, is it Davis Warren? Is it Alex Orji? And they're both bad options. So like, which one is going to be least terrible?
Yeah.
And this year, Michigan actually has a little bit of depth in that QB room, and it's no surprise that Bryce Underwood came out as the top.
First game, they are a 35-point favorite.
I honestly, I need to touch up on my Lobo knowledge for this preseason, but I've been saying this a lot lately.
But a 5-touchdown win, that's a lot.
With the transfer portal, I think it's so hard to know what you're going to get from any college
Good
football
point,
team.
yeah.
I mean, the roster turnover season to season is just massive. Preseason rankings to me have never meant less in college football. So I'm probably not going to be hitting a lot of lines this weekend.
But you bring up polling. Michigan right now is almost smack dab in the middle at what, number 14?
Yeah, right on the playoff cut line.
Yeah. Do you think they finish? Is that about where you think they finish? If we're doing like an over-under type thing, above 14 or below?
I'm going to say above. I think it boils down to, can Michigan go 10-2? If so, they're in the playoff. If they go 9-3, I think they're on the outside looking in.
I agree with him. I mean, I think with Bryce Underwood, you know me, I'm excited. I think the sky's the limit for this guy.
Wait, you're excited?
I think they absolutely can make the playoffs and make a run.
I have no idea.
Yeah. The defense finished so strong last year,
Yeah.
and it felt like Wink Martindale finally got his footing. And if he can carry that into year 2, where they don't have the star power, but they've got a lot of good
They lost
depth.
talent to the NFL, but
For sure.
the other guys that are there too are pretty good.
Yeah, so it comes down to, is Bryce Underwood ready to be an above average quarterback? Does he have any weapons that can do anything on the field? And if the answer to those questions are yes, I mean, there's not a game on that schedule that they can't win.
And Michigan kicks off the season right here on Local 4 coming up on Saturday. It's on NBC and Peacock. Michigan State, they start a little bit earlier this year, coming up on Friday. We'll dive into the Spartans coming up on DSP. Michigan State starts up the season on Friday night as they take on Western Michigan. Second season for Jonathan Smith. This team has not made a bowl game since 2021.
Crazy.
That was a great team. The Kenneth Walker year was absolutely fantastic in East Lansing, but since then they have not come close to that. Do you think that this is the year that the Spartans could find themselves in a bowl game? We were talking about the quarterback situation. They have a quarterback with already another year under his belt in Aidan Chiles. He's got a couple of transfer receivers. The offensive line, everybody says coming out of East Lansing, is better than last year. Could the Spartans make a bowl game this year?
Could they? Yes.
Yeah.
I think that they will. And like we just said last segment, it's hard to know anything about a college football team, but when I look at the schedule and I look at how Jonathan Smith's time at Oregon State went, I do think that he will get Michigan State to a bowl game this year. They kind of have to start 3-0 to get there. They have to win those first 3 non-conference games, but if they can do that, I think they're on a good track.
I just hope to God they're good this year. College football is just so much more fun when Michigan State is in the mix.
Yeah. That's true.
That's
I think, it all comes down to Aidan Chiles, obviously. And from what I've been reading, like he's ready to make that jump. I mean, he was a very high risk, high reward player last year, had some really good moments, especially in clutch time. But then he's turned the ball over at a high rate. Can he clean that up this year? If he makes any progress in that category, Michigan State's going to be a lot better.
I think if you look from your standpoint about the turnovers, he was a big play waiting to happen in so many times for the good and the bad, for the good and the bad. And it wasn't just picks. It was fumbles. Like he had a tough time hanging on to the ball. Third down, they've got to be better in that regard too. But they went out and got some more wide receivers, adding to Nick Marsh, who was just he was the player, the kid out of River Rouge. He was the player for Michigan State last year. You get him again for another season. But you look at Aidan Chiles the first half of the season to the second half of the season, he got better in the turnover department. Like, he was taking care of the ball. He wasn't just saying, oh, look, I'm going to try to make a play. I'm going to try to do too much, and then it ends up losing the game. I think once he has a year under his belt, because also you brought up Oregon State. That's where he was before this. And the jump from what Oregon State was playing to Big Ten football, that's a big jump. And I think that now that he's gotten a taste of that, it'll be
And think
good.
about what his college career has looked like so far. Like, true freshman year at Oregon State, obviously there's going to be a lot of mistakes there. And then his first offseason as a college football player was spent like jumping with his coach to an entirely new team, that a program that was seeing all this overturn. So he really hasn't had a settled offseason until this year.
And we brought up expectation for Bryce Underwood. Michigan State had expectations for him.
Yes.
Last year at this time, people thought that he was the missing piece. That here we go, we've got a dual threat quarterback. That's a lot of pressure for a guy moving schools, coming into this type of situation. I think from a comfort level, he'll be much more comfortable this year.
Yeah, it is him. It is him and the receivers, though. That's the key, because that's the strength of this team. If Chiles and those receivers, led by Nick Marsh, they have to be dominant, and if they are, Michigan State could be,
And he's got to have time to make something happen too.
Yeah,
I mean, the starting five up front has got to be good. Yeah. But we were bringing up bowl game. I was looking it up. The odds say that they are at 5.5 over/under for wins. Wow. So if we're going off of that logic, we're taking the over on that.
I think we're going to be seeing Michigan State in the Pop-Tart Bowl this year. Book it.
Book it.
Book it.
Michigan State in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Love the Pop-Tart Bowl. Or the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Who doesn't? Should be a college football playoff bowl. That's it. Could you imagine?
Getting ready to play a playoff game and you have to watch a bunch of people massacre a person in a Pop-Tart uniform.
The best part of the college football season, Derek.
It is football time, clearly, if we're already talking about the Pop-Tart Bowl. Thank you for joining us on DSP. We will see y'all next time.